So this is it. Voice talking, sensations in the body, feelings, thoughts, the wind, the rain. Everything is this. There's nothing apart. And this is the mystery. And what is sought is not somewhere, what's really sought is not somewhere far afield on top of a big throne of wisdom. What's really sought is not bliss and peace and all of that. What's sought is inescapably, intimately just what is. But you simply can't have what is. And what's been suggested here is that there isn't you and what is. There's just what is. And on the face of it, that can appear like a sort of a complex suggestion because it's unfathomable, it's ungraspable to say that there is not you and life. Because every other communication, every other interaction is about talking to you, about you getting somewhere, about advancing you on this path through life. And this is the one where that is not being suggested. And it's all that really is being suggested is simply that there's just what is. And that is just so utterly simple, so horribly simple, that it feels like something then is not being understood with it, that there must be something to get with what is being described. If he's organizing a meeting, he must have something to proclaim, he must have something to relay, some piece of information, some piece of something that'll make this all clear and better. And in essence, it's the absolute absence of that. It's the utter and complete absence of any suggestion, any prescription, any piece of information that's useful. But it's also pretty clear that saying that this is the mystery is more often than not what is felt. What is felt is that something is missing, that I'm not quite getting this, that my life needs something for it to be better, that this as it is simply not enough. And that's not a doing, it's just how it appears to be. And that's probably what these sorts of gatherings are about. They're a sharing and about this, however it appears to be, is how it is. And you can't do this wrong or right. You can't, if this was about a way to talk, about learning words and sentences, then it should be back in a game of upper and lower, a hierarchy about who's able to speak the best, about who's able to proclaim the words the best, about who was the most at ease, the wisest, the one who had the most. We'd be back in the game of wealth. And this is the absence of having anything. And it is the absence of that which can have. But that is already the case. So that's the sort of killer with this. So let's have a go, though. Let's see what's there to be asked. Let's chew the cud. Yeah, let's see what's there to be asked. If there's anything, there doesn't need to be anything. But if there is, then just click the unmute button and go for it, and ask whatever is there to be asked. And let's see what happens.
Hi, Frank.
Hiya.
Hi. I missed the introduction, sorry. So can I just ask a question?
Of course.
Thank you. So there's been a lot of changes here over the last sort of 6 months or so. I find that sometimes like I'm just there being, and then around other people, I'm just like sucked into a vortex. And that's what's happening. And I'm just totally lost in it when that happens. You know, the me is there, and there's total identity. And when I'm not around people, like when I'm walking in nature, there's so much sort of self-reflection. And what I mean by that is I feel completely at one with everything. I can just stand looking at a tree for ages. I never used to do that. It's like all the dimensions are different. It looks so much fuller. And so when I'm in nature, it's almost like a completely different reality than when I'm around other people. And I just wondered if you could just comment on that for me, please.
Well, that's just what appears to be then, and that's what appears to be felt and described. Mostly we're kind of used to things going somewhere and something leading to X or Y. And no, that's just what appears to be then, walking in nature versus being around people or whatever. That's just what's described.
Frank?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I just figured out how to unmute. Sorry about that. Frank, is death a concept or a reality? And if it's a concept, the reality is that the body does leave or disappear. Can you talk on that a little bit?
Well, if you were to say that there's death in every instant, that's as close that I can say then about any idea of death, is that this is death now, and then this is life and death, and is and is not, and everything and nothing, constantly pouring through the senses. So everything is dying and living at the same time. So this good old bald Paddy won't appear, and that'll be that, and the leaves fall to the ground, and in every instant without the story, the whole thing is collapsing and rebooting, you could say. So everything is a concept, including concept. And yet we love any sort of concept that, you know, can be figured out. So death is something to figure out, whereas this outrageousness of hearing a voice, of breathing, of the senses, of the question appearing to be asked about death, that's the mystery. That's the unfathomable pouring. Utterly alive as that, and yet gone in every exhale. So this is death, baby. Or call it life, heaven, hell, potato, carrot. This is everything and nothing.
Thank you.
You just can't have it. Thankfully, be very heavy.
Thanks, Frank.
Cheers.
What's up, Frankie?
How you doing, Joey?
All right. You still do Wim Hof?
No.
No. Yeah. I did it, and I still like to do it.
Mm.
It can be, and it, you know, it has both aspects, the breathing aspect, and
I
then
mean, I could do it tomorrow, like, who knows? Because I'm a bit under the weather, so who knows? I don't know.
yeah. Anyway, it was one time I was trying to do the breathing, and I thought I could do that because it's like, it's not spiritual, right? So it's okay. And then I was so tired of the whole thing that I couldn't even do the breathing. And then immediately there was like a shift, you know, there was like a moment, not a moment, actually quite a while of like, oh shit, there's just walking across the kitchen floor, you know?
Yeah.
And then the same thing, and then I dropped the breathing because I was like, well, this is bullshit, but the cold showers I can still do. So then the same fucking thing happened with the cold shower. And so it's like, part of me likes doing it. And then I, you know, get into this thing of like deliberately not gonna do it because it's a practice, but then whatever the fuck, like who cares anyway? I don't know. Just thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, well, you see, there's no rules. Do whatever the fuck you appear to be doing, which is seems like it's grappling with it. You know,
Yeah.
if cold showers is what's appearing to happen, then cold showers, I think they're fucking great. So what?
I think so too.
They're great,
But
great
I don't
for
want to get
energy. So what? Like,
but yeah,
having a
exactly.
nice cup of coffee, going for a walk in the fresh air, sitting watching TV, stuffing your face with sweets. Who cares? Like,
That I'm not gonna do, okay?
yeah, your body's a temple, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever you appear to be doing is what you appear to be doing. Like
Yeah,
that's,
I know. Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's this, you know, like, well, I'm not gonna do it because it's a practice and they get involved. But then
it's just caught
to
up
me,
in
you do
concepts.
that
Then
with
it's all
anything.
just, it's more, it's stories wrapped in stories. Then, you know,
Yeah.
it's just what it appears to be. It's not leading anywhere. So if doing cold showers is what is, and a bit of energy is it got from it. Great.
Yeah.
If doing a cold shower seems like the most unbearable thing, then that's how it is. If it seems like, oh, it's a practice and I'm not doing it, okay, so what? It's just, you see, everything really, since this high is supposed to lead to something else.
Yeah.
Can't be just what it is.
No, it has to be it has to go somewhere
It's
better.
going somewhere, you know, it's always on a path to somewhere. So if doing a cold shower is, it's great. Cold shower is great. Drink coffee is great. Talking here is great. There's nothing special. Without the story, like, there's nothing special. And then it's just whatever it appears to be then. Free to be exactly how it appears to be being, including grappling with it and all that. But in terms of practices and holiness and all that, no. Nothing leads to anything, you know.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not
this
it's just, you know, it's always like, do 10 weeks of this to become this and this and this and this and this and this. It's all a story, like.
yeah. The reason why I'm asking
It's
though,
so attractive though. Go on, yeah.
yeah, because you did the whole you were right into it. You did the whole running thing, and you were, you know, there
Oh
was
yeah,
an
I love
energy.
Jesus. I love all that. I love exercise. Love it. I'm raging. I haven't been exercising the last couple of days. Just under the weather. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So what? But you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
You see the thing is, like, what's imagined is that there is a way to be, and it's known then. It's just really everything is mystery. Everything is mystery. And it's just the story element of everything just doesn't seem to be held tight. So then lost in apparently doing Wim Hof or going for a walk or drinking a nice cup of tea or chatting to friends or whatever. The mystery just doesn't begin or end then. So then apparently sitting here asking, and I wasn't doing anything, but doing Wim Hof appeared to be what happened. Just like you've never done a thing, but things appear to be done.
Yes, but what I'm saying, for like, for example, that there's that energy that is sort of in the body, that is held in the body, and that is, you know, the energy of it having to lead somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Going somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And
In
it's
essence,
like,
in essence, there isn't two though. There isn't that someone and that energy. There's just that energy. Wholly, completely that. So you can't do that or not do that. That's just how it appears to be.
sure, I understand, but that's just an
Yeah.
intellectual understanding.
Do you understand? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is experientially, you know, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm talking. But anyway, experientially, there's a difference where, you know, you're sitting down and doing, and then all of a sudden the whole thing is just like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. And then all of a sudden it's poof, it's like, oh fuck. You know, just because that what I was just so tired of doing it, but it wasn't really, it was just like I couldn't really bear to do it anymore. And then all of a sudden, but that's a completely different perception. It's a completely different reality.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's
A completely different reality to what?
To the one that energy of trying to lead somewhere that's sort of lays dormant in the body, and it's cast and its hooks everywhere. It's trying to get itself pulling towards the future, or whatever. I'm just trying to, you know, express what it feels like. But I still like the idea of doing, you know, cold showers. They make me feel good.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Right.
There's nothing wrong or right about anything. It's just how it appears to be. You could say that somehow it seems like some things appear to be given a hierarchy. So the disease, uncomfortableness of, say, doing the Wim Hof, no, that's not it. The feeling of this is stupid is not it. It's only when it's, or whatever, something relaxing, then that's it. And all that's been suggested here is that there's just what is, however it is. So feeling like it's bullshit is also this. Or also what is.
Hello?
Oh yeah.
All right, Frank.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
Good, yeah.
Good, cool. This is a bit strange, really, because I was just reading a book and I looked through my emails and there was an email about this meeting. I've just pressed on it and here I am, or not, as it may be. Yeah, so I thought I'd, as no one was speaking, I thought I'd chime in and give you my little story. You open to that?
Go for it, yeah.
So I kind of got into this message back in 2014, I think it was. And it was just a lot of seeking. I think I've been watching you for a long time, mate, and seen various teachers, you know, Tony, Jim, Andreas, lots of kind of intense seeking. And then there was a kind of a disappearing thing that happened on December 2014, Christmas Eve, I think it was. There was a disappearing, and then I came back thinking, what the fuck was that, kind of thing. And then there was more kind of, and what facilitated the disappearing was a thought. So, but it wasn't my thought, it was a thought that just said, oh, right, this is just all being done. And it just disappeared and then came back. And it was, and then these questions came back saying, you know, saying, if everything's all being done, what about the me? What about the self? What about the ego? Is that being done too? So it's just like the search started up again. And it didn't matter how many people told me that, yeah, that's being done too. It just didn't seem to resonate. Not that there's anything for it to resonate with, because there's nothing, or no one's separate from everything else. For you to realize if that makes sense. So yeah, and then I was working as a therapist, and I went to go and see Andreas, and then the next day I was just about to see a client, and I remember I was kind of doing some stretches like before I saw this client, and then all of a sudden, well, it's not all of a sudden, I guess I couldn't kind of pinpoint any moment in time in which this happened or didn't happen, because I guess it didn't happen. But there was just, everything was very bright, and all I can describe it as with words in the story is what you call your podcast or your speaking, which is, it was just unknowingness, just not knowing, but it wasn't just unknowing. It was almost like it was a beautiful unknowing. It was kind of like I just didn't know anything. And it's kind of, but it was beautiful that it was beautiful unknowing, because like when you say kind of unknowing to a me or to someone that is a someone, or believes that they're a someone, they get scared because it's unknowing is a kind of like a scary prospect. And I remember getting up to go and walk out to see my client, and her sitting in the chair and her really feeling like she knew something. And I remember looking at her almost like, it was almost like she was pretending to know something, you know? And I had to try, it's like I had to try to, I couldn't empathize. It's really difficult. It was really strange. Like empathy's always been my thing. I've always been pretty good at tapping into the other, walking in the other's shoes type deal. And I couldn't really do it that well then. And then I came back like as a self, and I was able to step into her experience again. I guess I don't know why I'm blabbing on about this, but I guess it's weird. I think I came to the realization that there's no way that I'm going to get any closer to this. Like there's no way that I'm going to get any closer to everything. So I just kind of gave up on the seeking, you know, because there is just this and that's it. And but it's funny when I start to listen to this message again, or I listen to you, or I listen to speakers, there is just like this kind of, it is like a breath, you know. It's like like you know, I go into the world and I'm working and I'm seeking and I'm buying and I'm just trying to get somewhere. And when I hear this, it's almost like this message. It's almost like a breath of fresh air, you know, coming back to it every now and again.
You see, really, there's nothing in this, and that's what's sort of loved and hated at the same time, it seems. But really, really nothing. Not a thing called nothing. It's and so there isn't empathy or not empathy. There's the fully, you know, whatever is. So whatever is what is. And there's no getting closer or further away from what is. And there isn't a thing even called unknowing. That's just it's a good word, but there isn't a thing called unknowing. It's totally wonderfully and divinely neutrally clueless, and that's not a having or a thing either. It's just how it appears to be. So then there's no arriving to here without the story. There's no getting away from here. Let's just say there's even a here. There's just what is, however it appears to be. And then when all the stories collapse, it's free to be however it appears to be, but that also includes things being a bit shit, you know. And it's just that it's exactly how it appears to be then. And so, but it seems like, I mean, the whole therapy thing can be harder because with everything seen to be a story, that heldness is seen to be a story. And it's not that there's a lack of empathy, but there isn't a relating. There isn't that pretend relating. Oh, I'll relate to you and you'll relate to me and we'll all live happily ever after. No, this is raw. This is raw, unforgiving, but totally not a doing. It's just raw and alive.
Yeah, free, isn't it?
And free, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not an idea of freedom though either. You know, that's the thing.
Freedom beyond the words and the speaking of it, I guess, isn't it?
All of it, yeah. So then it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, man, love that. Yeah, and a kind of you could just drive yourself mental with trying to get it, can't you? Get closer to it. It's just hold on. That can
just go on. It's just that's exactly how it is. Then this trying to get it, and even when presented with absolutely nothing, it's imagined that nothing is a thing because it simply can't be this. It has to be this particular experience. It can't be. Yeah. And that's not a doing though. You see, that's the difficulty. It's not like that. Then it's just that everything is being done.
Exactly.
Can't do right or wrong. It's just how it appears to be. So seeking plays out. The whole thing. It's just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically there's no you that exists outside of everything to get everything, is there?
There's just no you.
Yeah.
But there never was. So then it's a non-event. It's just that, let's say that particular seeking thing just stops. I mean, it is impossible because when it's felt like there is someone, to hear that there isn't is sort of that because everything else, everything else can be known, got, understood, right? Had. But this one, because it's already the case, of course, can't be had. There's just nothing in there that can have
counterintuitive,
anything.
Isn't it? It's counterintuitive to that kind of.
It's a total. Energy. It's a whatever. It's a total intuitive destroyer, And yet wonderfully then, you see, it's impossible. You mean to say that thinking's happening all by itself, and all that seeking was happening by itself, and the talking and the feeling and the breathing, the hearing, all just happening? There's no role for good old me. Well, there's just no me, like. But there is what is, and so if it's felt and described, then, oh, well, now, come on, Frank, there is here, then okay, right, you know? But it's neither validated or non-validatable, obviously. How could, who'd be there to validate anything?
Well, it's just what's happening, isn't it? Like you say, it's just what's appearing in that.
It's just how it appears to be then, and the story then held to be true is the story held to be true. Yeah. There's just this, however it is. And that can sometimes can be heard as, oh, it's just this, I'm missing something. But it's just, there's just then the feeling of, oh, I'm missing something.
It's kind of just this, including the appearance of you feeling like it's not that you're not part of this.
Yeah. And that would be, and so these sorts of communications then, or sharing, appear to happen, and they appear to sort of, that something energies always tries to get something out of nothing. But nothing then just, it's not like there's a thing then that's nothing, or a somebody that's a no one. It's just the response seems to be, okay, well, that's how it is. And at best you could say it's a mirror, reflects back. Oh, well, if it's felt that it's that way, then okay, sure, who would know? I don't know.
So, you know? Kind of self-fulfilling, yeah.
Well,
it's
yeah,
kind of like
but it's almost, sometimes it's almost going, well, I am still here though. I do feel like somebody, Frank. Oh, right, okay.
Kind of waving its little hand, like,
yeah, but it's almost wants to be seen. but that's how it is then. It's sort of, what do you say? That's how it seems to be playing out then.
It's almost like it's almost like it's trying to grab onto thin air, isn't it? Like to kind of put a flag in nothing.
Well, you could say in a way it's most these sorts of gatherings expose the seeking, because nothing is constantly offered, because it's what's said then is, well, it is obviously the seeking. Of course, it's the seeking. It has to be. And the seeking energy is used to being able to get something, have something, and hates it, and loves it, hates it.
Isn't the seeking kind of is the individual, isn't it?
The seeking is the individual. Yeah, there is well, there is just the seeking. There isn't an individual and seeking. There's just that seeking then. That dis-ease, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And the funny thing is, when that kind of, obviously this is just me recounting of a kind of something that happened or didn't happen outside of time. It's really difficult to linguistically put it together, but I think it's difficult because it happens, or it doesn't happen outside of time, if that makes sense. So the falling away doesn't happen linearly or in time, you know, and all the kind of all the seeking self knows is linear time, like this happens, then that happens, and this tomorrow, and there was yesterday. But kind of when there's just unknowing, there's no particular moment in time. It's like, well, there was knowing, and then bosh, there was unknowing. It doesn't happen like that. It's kind of, you know, it doesn't happen in a moment or a moment in time.
You see, actually, nothing happens. And, and this, though, is that nothing happening. constantly.
Hold on. Let me put that together. Say that again.
But there's no putting it together. This is that nothing happening, constantly presenting. This, like,
Yeah. This is that nothing happening.
this is that nothing happening, constantly presenting. But you see, it's like, it's also that. You put that together again, Frank. It's also that.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's saying yes, and it's saying fuck off. It's saying whatever.
Yeah.
It's just happening.
Yeah. And that's what makes
that's
it
the best
anarchy,
that
isn't it?
you could say, maybe. That's,
Yeah. So that unknowing is this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is apparently talking now, apparently listening, apparently going, apparently saying, apparently, the most annoying word in the history of words. Yeah, it's this. This is that unknowing, constantly.
Yeah, it's such a deceiving word, that apparently, isn't it? I had to like Google definitions of it. Do you know?
Just like you
what
get to the
fuck
bottom
is
of
that?
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, kind
It
of
is.
like
It's
what
the
else?
same as is and isn't. Everything and
Yes.
nothing. It's just the meaning seems to fall out of absolutely everything, really, you could say. So then it's everything is apparently the case.
It's appearing to be, but not necessarily so, I think is the actual definition.
Well, you see, and the mystery sort of permeates everything. Mystery is just that unknowability or that cluelessness, and then it's just words. So the held reality, realness of everything kind of just drops, So isn't everything and nothing, real and unreal, or just simply without all that, just what is. It's so full already as whatever is. So as seeking, as asking the question, as whatever, as everything. There isn't the
but
two.
empty, but empty simultaneously.
Empty, yeah. Empty and full, but it's not a having either. It's empty and full to the brim, or empty and full to the brim with the hearing of full to the brim. So it's this then.
Yeah, and I like the stuff you were saying about death. You guys were talking about death earlier.
Right.
I love that. That's the breath to me. They're kind of just, you've got these words coming out of my mouth right now, and then there'll just be the death of that. And it's just constantly dying into itself. The moment's constantly dying into itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's just words as well. Like it's just words. Yeah, it's this.
Yeah. I love talking about this stuff, and it's really difficult to find someone that can hear it, because everyone just goes, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, so it's rare as rocket. So it's quite nice actually just to chat shit about it,
Well, it is in a way. It's sort of the unfortunate, perhaps unfortunately fortunate, very few really, because it's interesting. If it was just about a few sentences, this would be totally moved on from. It would be totally, but it seems to take hold. You could and it can't be let go of either. That's the head in the lion's mouth, you could say, if you were to be poetic with language and flavorsome with language. It's just because it isn't about a few sentences. It's just that it's a sort of a wildness to it also that
Don't you reckon there must be some kind of, I know, this is bordering on there being someone here, but like kind of there must be some kind of energetic recognition to this message, something that knows, that's beyond knowing and beyond the self or me.
Well, you see, in actual fact, it's already the case.
Yeah.
And it's just all the knowings are like just it has to be, because the currency of the world is knowing. And so that it is in the absence of knowing, that's just not, doesn't work for that which is used to eating the world and being fed, you know. So this is it's just nothing to do with knowing, you know.
No,
You know.
yeah, kind of. I do. I kind of get what you. Yeah, so it's kind of.
And so that's why it's sort of childlike. It's kind of it's an innocence about innocence, though.
Innocence
It's
about.
not-
Yeah,
it's
kind of.
about even innocence. There's an innocence about that too.
Well, yeah, it's innocence as pure as it gets, I guess. It kind of it sounds like the like knowing is consumption and unknowing is starvation. So it's just kind of
Well, in a way, it does starve that. It does starve that, but also, it is a total starvation. But that's what's craved. That this is not about higher or lower, about knowledge, about information,
no.
about having, but all the kings and queens and lords and ladies and all the stories about all the plays, all the theater. It's like I like the idea of that this is an interlude in the movie, but I mean, obviously, it's also this, like, it's, you know, these sorts of gatherings are like an interlude in the movie, but I mean, this is also the movie, or this is also life, or what is, or whatever. There isn't a movie, there isn't anything. There's just inescapably this.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So you're feeling a bit under the weather, a bit poorly at the moment then?
Yeah, there's bugs going around the house.
Oh yeah.
Been Dr. Frank for a few days.
Right.
Dr. Frank and Sick Frank. Grand though.
So are you doing? You're doing meetings at the moment, aren't you? Or kind of. Do you do kind of? Do you go to London and stuff, or?
Well, I was in London whenever it was back in a few weeks ago, maybe it was in November. I was in London.
Okay.
Partly, yeah. See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'll stop hogging the mic, man, and give it to someone else. Good chatting to you, man.
Likewise. Just Amit, if there's a question to be asked, I see you've sent me a direct message. If you want to ask a question, I'm not going to really respond to anything personal, but if there's a question about this communication, then just go for it. It's I can't really comment on anything else.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hi, Frank. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah. So the question was that I have been in this space of nothingness for the last 3-4 years.
Okay.
And I have been married for the last 5 years. And the thing is, for me, a child means another story. And for my wife, it doesn't. So she had medical issues, and for which her uterus had to be removed. So she says she wants a child via the surrogacy. So for me, spending so much on a story means nothing. And of course, I would be insensitive if at all I told her that. So I just wanted to know, I just wanted to hear your views on this.
So there's no views whatsoever on that. There isn't a space of nothingness. And there's no views whatsoever on that. There's just, if that's what's happening, then that's what's happening. But there's nothing here that can offer any advice or solution or anything about that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So thank you all. Oh, sorry, there's something else. I'd imagine if you're married and you find out your partner don't exist. It's a relief. Right. All right. Have a lovely rest of day, morning, or afternoon, and take it however